would be hard to give a statistical answer about how often it happens. That's certainly beyond my capacities. But why people give up opportunities of freedom is very simple. People have habits. People are creatures of habits. And people are very often uncomfortable to do things that they're not used to doing. And so we're trained to behave in certain ways, ways that are restricted, ways that lack certain freedoms. And those ways of behaving become part of our personality. And so we feel comfortable behaving in a way that doesn't use the freedoms that are open to us. And rather than change, we're comfortable the way we are. So many people don't want to change, even if they're unhappy with the way they are. They would rather be dealing with a familiar problem than risk changing their lives and then encountering other problems.
Could we say from which values we are willing to give up when it comes to our political freedom? For example, in order to have a more equal society?
Again, the kind of question you're asking doesn't give a universal answer. Certain people are willing to give up certain things. Other people are willing to give up other things. Intellectuals are interested more in intellectual values. People who focus only on commercial values are more interested in money. Obviously, in order to introduce greater economic equality, certain people have to give up certain levels of wealth. I think to convince them to give up those levels of wealth, sometimes the differences won't ever be felt by them because they make so much money. I know couples like that in New York who could never ever spend all the money that they make. I think in order to convince them to pay more taxes, if they're unwilling to pay, because there are some wealthy people who are very happy to pay taxes, you would have to convince them of the value of other goals and interests in life.
Okay. Interview with philosopher.
Okay. Okay.
But no. If you can reform democracy, what would you change?
If I could reform democracy? Okay. Yeah, if I had the ability to reform democracy, I would introduce a greater emphasis on education, because the right to vote without the ability to think clearly about what to vote for is a right that isn't as effective as it could be if voters were more educated. And in trying to improve a society's education, I would also try to improve the role of the media, to make them less subject to commercial pressures and more informative of what's actually going on. I find that the media has a tremendous amount of conformity. All of the news channels talk about the same things, and I think they do that because they think that all the people are interested in the same things, and so their goal is entertaining the people instead of trying to educate them. So I think there's an important role for media in democratic education.